One of the most active tickers on the Yahoo Finance platform is HPE. Tough quarter. Shares really under pressure after the company came out with disappointing earnings and a tough outlook. Let's bring HPE CEO Antonio Neri in here, no stranger to our programming. Antonio, I know it's a tough day. Appreciate you hopping on here. Let's start with the market reaction. I think as some folks that I talked to, they were surprised by how the quarter came out. You know, as the quarter was trending along, what caught you by the surprise here?
Well, Brian, thank you for having me today. Obviously, it's a disappointing day, but I think you need to separate the story into two different parts. On the quarter side, we deliver on all our commitments. In fact, we had a terrific revenue growth of 17% year over year. And our non-GAAP EPS came right in line to the midpoint of the guidance that we provided last quarter. So from the financial metric perspective, that was in line. And the bookings in the quarter were very strong, up double digits year over year. The disappointment was on one specific metric, which was the server operating margins, which came below what the street had in their consensus. And that had to do with the fact that we find a couple of issues that we could have executed better, so it's on us and on me. And that was related to three things. One is aggressive discounting in the traditional x86 business. We see a very competitive market out there. Number two was the valuation of our inventory was not aligned to our pricing. And we found out end of the quarter, which is very disappointing to me. And so those what I call execution challenges. And then on the AI side, we had a higher than normal inventory to related parts like Hopper and so forth, because now the service providers and the model builders, which lead with time to market with the latest technologies, are moving to the latest generation. In fact, in Q1, we doubled the bookings sequentially in AI, but 70% of that was on the Blackwell side. So our guide, which was obviously, in my mind, the biggest disappointment, was all of that included, plus the tariffs. Because we announced 2 days after the tariffs came in place and obviously enacted, we felt that was prudent for us to put it all in the guide so that the street has a flagpole on where we're going to drive, and then also, obviously, the delay of the Juniper deal.
Antonio, you and I have talked a good bit, and this is the first time I think I've heard you talk about greater competitive activity, discounting or really heightened competitive activity in servers. To the layperson out there, did someone else that you compete with come out with a better product? What's going on out there in the trenches, so to speak?
No, I argue that innovation is phenomenal because we had double digits year over year orders growth across all our businesses. In the server business, both traditional server and AI, in our networking business, in our Aruba business, and also in elements of a hybrid cloud where we saw that our storage business grew triple digits year over year on the booking side, and our GreenLake had a terrific quarter again with the AIR, the subscription part of the cloud, up 46% year over year. So from a product innovation perspective, no. But I think people are realizing that obviously to gain share in the market, you have to be way more competitive. And that's where I think, the aggressive stance took place.
When do you think the discounting will normalize?
Well, on the two issues I talked before about the cost alignment to the inventory and discounting, we already took aggressive actions, and we already see the benefits of that. But however, because of the size of the business and the fact that you have a backlog with a pricing that's lower than what we are pricing today, it will take 1 to 2 quarters to see the full benefits of that in our operating margins. But we expect to exit Q4 with a normal 10% or so operating margin in the server business. And then on the AI business, it takes time to realign the working capital. But we feel, that will take place over the next 3 quarters. And, and then obviously we're going to make the transition to the latest GPUs.
And you're taking tough actions here, Antonio, coming out with 5% workforce reduction. Is this a first component, or this is we're only doing 5% here. We're going to have these cost savings, and then we're going to hope the business gets better.
Well, my plan was, Brian, that we were ready to announce the entire set of synergies, inclusive of the Juniper deal. And remember that Juniper deal, we committed to at least $450 million in annual gross savings for our shareholders. So if you take the two combined, you can see it was close to $800 million. But we decided to go ahead and start with the HP standalone, because we see incremental cost opportunities across our company, also by leveraging the latest technologies with AI. And then once the Juniper deal closes, we will execute the second part of this, and therefore the plan was already kind of in place.
What's the latest on the Juniper deal? My understanding is this is going to, a trial? What's the next component?
Yeah, first of all, we are disappointed that the DOJ decided to file a lawsuit to try to stop the Juniper transaction. We believe this transaction is pro-competitive. It will change the dynamics of the networking market. In addition to significantly advance the U.S. national security agenda outside the United States, because the combination of Juniper and HP will provide a very strong alternative to vendors like Huawei. However, the suit has been filed, and now we are in litigation, and the judge has been selected, and the trial date is set for July 9th. And we expect, therefore, during the month of July to complete the trial, and hopefully shortly after that, the judge will issue his ruling.
Are these, I think the thinking coming into the Trump administration, Antonio, was this is going to be a friendlier backdrop to getting deals or transformational deals like this done. I mean, what are these just Biden leftovers here that don't want to see big deals getting done?
I believe so for the most part, but obviously we need to wait for the new appointee, Gels, later to be confirmed. Mm-hmm. And then I'm sure she will take a look at all the cases. Remember that we are not a big tech company. We are what I call a core tech company. What we do for the United States is to power the core infrastructure, including the Department of Defense and the Department of Energy. Many of the systems we provide, and you and I have spoken about it in the past, in the Department of Energy are used to do simulation and modeling now using AI. Many of those is to do seismic research. Obviously, that will advance the agenda of being more energy independent going forward. And the Department of Defense, obviously, we power the key missions of military and others. So when that comes to play, I hope that will be a consideration. But then from a pure antitrust perspective, just by applying the antitrust law, basically it says there is no case here, because the combination of these two companies still smaller than the big one, and is still pro-competitive, where there is at least 8 vendors here in the United States the customer had the choice to work with.
All right, well, I still appreciate you coming on, Antonio. I know it was mixed quarter, tough on the outlook. Not what you normally come on here and discuss and break down for us. Appreciate the time nonetheless. Antonio Neri, HPE CEO. We'll talk to you soon.